Artificial intelligence is affecting all aspects of life, including the music industry. So joining us now with more on AI and music is Polymath music producer Fernando Garibay and California Western School of Law professor James Cooper. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is exciting. Fernando, I'll start with you because you are coming back to be a guest featured keynote speaker at California Western School of Law again in really a broad area. Can you discuss a little bit, which I'm sure is a very kind of scary, unknown territory of AI in the music industry?
Yeah, I feel like I've been tasked to ease the anxiety of the world as far as to AI and music and AI and content. It's going to be another, right now in this phase of AI, it's another tool that we use to fast track our creativity, fast track our ideation, and fast track our productivity. That's it. Although I highly encourage the world to start adopting and get comfortable using AI to prompt your way through idea generation, prompt your way through your daily activities, how to optimize your time, etc. Just to become really comfortable. The barrier of entry has been lowered, right? To coding now through the English language, right? So now we can all become computer literate through the words that we use and understand.
I mean, it is fascinating, and it unlocks a lot of potential, and I guess the job is sort of to harness that. So, Professor, that's where you come in, right?
Well, yeah, and frankly, the old laws, copyright, patent, other intellectual property laws, are from the 19th century, so they're really not ready for the kind of work that Fernando is doing and his colleagues, because we're in a brand new world. And it's not just in music, it's in healthcare, it's in the financial sector, it's in consumer affairs, and just a wide variety of fields. We don't know yet what we don't know. So the law has a lot of catching up to do. And that's what our conference is about this morning at California Western School of Law in downtown San Diego.
Well, I'm glad you addressed that, because people are saying, hey, this is, I mean, Fernando, if I didn't give your introduction properly, I mean, you are world-renowned, world music producer, you've worked with Lady Gaga, I mean, some of the greatest. And so people are saying, well, what does that have to do with the School of Law? But you bring an interesting point of how many different topics and areas that now have to be figured out in this unknown world.
It's a challenge, because the U.S. government is not doing yet what we need it to do in terms of passing legislation. There's a lot of there's a lack of clarity from a regulatory perspective. The EU, the European Union, just recently passed an AI Act, and it's the first out of the box on that. So it's going to be the model against which most of us will be measuring how we can regulate and how we can protect jobs. Because according to Goldman Sachs, in the next 5 to 10 years, there are going to be 300 million jobs lost worldwide because of the adoption of artificial intelligence in the workplace.
Wow.
And to be fair, it's a matter of asking the right question. We don't know what that right questions are, but we can assume that one of the questions that we need to ask ourselves as a society, and it's regulatory, is what is authorship? Right? Authorship was defined prior to the AI generation as you create any content and then you publish it, right? And whoever created that content is the author. But now, because AI is generative of all past information that's been uploaded online, right? It's combed the history of humanity uploaded online, then who is the author, right?
Yeah.
I think the question is, how do we define authorship and not a dichotomy of it's this or that, but more of a spectrum of evolution, and rethinking ourselves of who is the new author. And the new author, I think, is, well, one is the style of prompting that you do. That's one version of the authorship, right? And leads to your own personal taste of authorship.
Yeah, very interesting. When you think about everything and maybe the footnotes of who could be credited within that authorship question. But speaking of questions, what type of questions are you going to be getting, you think, from the students at this conference today?
Hopefully very challenging ones. I encourage that, because this is a complete white space and a gray space, in the sense that no one really knows what can happen next, right? We have an idea, and there's a theatrical part of this, in which, like, the fear and all that, and there's a reality part of this. And the reality part of this is where I like to lean towards, which is it's an evolution of changes that are going to happen across all industries, right? It's I think important to not lean into the fear aspect, but lean into the adoption aspect and how to, again, adopt this as part of your regular discipline and daily life.
Well, the conferences today, right? Can people attend future conferences?
It's on the California Western School of Law website, and we encourage people to join us and to hear Fernando and a number of other speakers. And there'll be law students, but also practitioners and folks from the community and from the scientific community as well.
And we'll share a live demo of how we now use for pop music, AI specifically, and it's fast tracking this process again. It's pretty mind blowing. We always we'll prompt live with our beta software, etc. And we are always surprised as to the results. We don't even know the results of this music that we create. It's amazing.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much. Good luck with the conference today.
Thank you,
Encourage
too.
everyone to look up Fernando Garibay online as well, and excited for what's to come. Thank you so much for bringing amazing guest speakers as well.
Thank you,
All right.
Laura.
Appreciate you both. Paul, we'll send it back over.